Dude, have you been posting lately? I know you've been busy. But I haven't been seeing any buzz on the socials.
I commented on one guy who was being a dick, and that's about it.
Well, good. You got to get our name out there for calling out dicks. That's how we'll get our name out there. We'll just fight everyone on the internet.
I wanted to call this guy out. I really wanted to call this guy out because he was being a real fucking asshole. But
yeah, you were telling me about it. Yeah, he was saying some nasty stuff just about the world in general, and it's like, yeah, you deserve to be cast down into a flaming pit. I've been watching Game of Thrones, so I'm all about the medieval deaths now. Season 4 was fantastic, and yeah, I think we're about like halfway through season 5, but yeah, it is a fantastic show. I mean, you could tell. I mean, magic, wizards, Game of Thrones. It's all. I can't believe they haven't done a crossover. Wizards. Why haven't you done that?
Why haven't you done that? My favorite meme of Game of Thrones is like watching season 1. And you're like, man, I really like Ned Stark. I wonder how this character is going to develop.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, I don't feel bad about spoiling that. Yeah, he doesn't make it too long. I know, he's like... You know what, though? He was Boromir, so...
Dude, that's right, he was...
Dude, it literally is like the
Sean
same
Bean?
character.
Sean.
I mean, not like the same like character and motivations, but yeah, the actor is literally... And he even looks the same and talks the same, and literally, it's like, you're just Boromir with different motivations and backstory.
Okay.
Side note. Hilarious. Sorry. Quick side tangent. The first time I watched Lord of the Rings with my wife, we were with some of her friends we had all seen it except for Jamie. We were playing a drinking game along with it, which was awesome, which we each picked a character, and like whenever they do something like a certain thing that's like typical to their character, we like made this list of rules. You have to drink. But the whole time we kept saying, fucking Boromir, every time he would talk. And Jamie's just like, what? What's bad about Boromir? We're like, fuck him. And she's like, why? Like, what's wrong with Boromir? And then it gets to the part where he's a piece of shit. And, he's really not a bad guy in the end. He just gets corrupted. But we're like, God damn it, Boromir.
I have a very... We're going to continue this tangent before we go on.
Of course.
I have a very serious love for Boromir's character in Fellowship of the Rings because in like all of Lord of the Rings, he is my favorite character. And everyone's like, why? He's an asshole. But it's like, no, he's not an asshole. He's just doing what he thinks is best for his people. But he's also the most human person. Like the most human character in the entire Fellowship. He is the one that is like, he's willing to go through this entire journey. Not only does he go through the journey to like try to get the ring from Rivendell to Mordor, he made the journey from Minas Tirith, which is right next to Mordor, to Rivendell. Like he already made the fucking trek.
Oh, and wow. Oh my God! Yeah. And that's in the book, right? Because that's the other thing I've heard. Like in the books, it's more realistic. Because in the movie, they make him seem like yeah, let me hold the ring, and he's like super greedy and stuff. And it's like I've heard the books make it way more believable how much the ring tempts you. Because in the movie, it's like everyone's just tempted, and you're like, come on.
The thing he says in the movie is like, I'm only trying to do what's best for my people. Like the entire time he's just trying to do what's best for his fucking people, even if it is the wrong thing. Like he's trying to take the ring to help fight this battle, and like nobody else understands this battle because Minas Tirith and Mordor have been going at it for fucking decades because they're right next to each other. Like I can't remember the ruins in between them, but they've been fighting over these ruins over and over and over again. And Boromir is the fucking commander that actually successfully takes it back from Mordor, and then goes to Rivendell to get the ring, or like to like talk in this council. But then
he's way better than he comes across.
Yeah, but
we only see Boromir at his worst parts in the movie. Like, I'm just going off the movie.
Everyone judges him at his worst part. Yeah,
exactly.
When in reality, like, he's a good guy. Like, he fights to the death in fucking the Mines of Moria, and he fights in the fucking woods right before he dies. He fights to the death to protect Merry and Pippin. Like, literally, he's like trying to redeem himself, even though he tried to steal the ring. When he's dying, he's literally saying to Aragorn, like, "I'm sorry, I failed you." And Aragorn's like, "You didn't fail me. You fucking did your best." I'm like kind of tearing up right now because Lord of the Rings is an emotional spot for me.
We're only in the initial intro of the podcast, and we went on an 8-minute tangent on Game of Thrones and Lord of the Rings, and we already have tears. So,
Sean Bean, also narrator of Civilization 6, great fucking game.
Oh shit, he's got a good voice too.
Oh yeah, he does.
Okay, so segue unrelated into the actual point of this episode. Completely unrelated to all that shit, but that's what you do. I'm leaning into the fact that we're an established podcast, kinda, and this is what you do. You just shoot the shit until you kind of meander your way into the topic, and people stick around because they actually care. It's funny if you look on the YouTube analytics that people die like I give it like 30 seconds, and if I'm not immediately gratified, they fucking leave. And it's like, you know what? We don't want you. The people who stayed, if you're listening to me saying this right now, you are a warrior. You are a king, an intellectual, you sexy, sexy being. So now we're going to actually you earned the prize, which is getting into the main topic, which has been the Magda, oh my beloved, has probably been on the screen for quite a while right now.
Quite a while.
What we're going to do today is go over, if you listen to some of our previous episodes, Trevor and I were both like, hey, we're both interested in like Magda and Tayam, which are kind of, I would say more of the complex decks compared to other ones in the meta right now. They're both very relevant decks, doing well. Tayam won a tournament a month ago. Magda's been up at the top for a while now, and maybe you don't understand them and you want to play better against them. Maybe you're considering, I want to build a Magda deck or a Tayam deck. So what Trevor and I did is we each built our own deck and kind of learned the best we could. And now we're going to kind of present it to each other, but in a way that's easy to understand and for everyone else listening as well. It's not going to be like an all-inclusive, this is a guide to play Magda, but I'm going to go through the basics and some of the lines and kind of like what makes it good. And then Trevor's going to do the same for Tayam.
Yep.
So we'll start with Magda because I kind of want to go into Tayam more deeply. That's what is actually, I feel like, is way more complex. It's just that the finishing lines for Magda are more crazy, I guess.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I would agree with you. I think Tayam it took me like a week of like studying and watching YouTube videos on like actually understanding Tayam. Shout out to the Tayam brothers. I don't remember your actual names.
The Tayam brothers.
you guys helped me a lot. But yeah, let's go into Magda, which I think is more relevant in the meta because I think people are more willing to like go into Magda than they are in Tayam. I think the main issue with Tayam is that not a lot of people understand Tayam. Even Tayam players don't really understand how to play Tayam.
Yeah.
So you don't see it.
Which is fun. It's actually funny how many people I've seen are like, I'm kind of get it now, and I've been playing it for a while. Magda is easier to like at a glance. You're like, oh, I know what they do. They get dwarves but if you ask a lot of people, they're like, yeah, you get dwarves out and you tap, make treasures, and then everything just kind of turns into a blur, and then all of a sudden you win. So I'll go into a little bit more of that. I'm not going to go into the super intricate. This is the exact line for some of the crazier ones, but I'll go through my mindset. It'll actually be easier if we just go into. I'm not going to like super in depth talk about a bunch of cards, but really what you want. So let's really quick. Let's just read Magda, which she is 1 in a red for a legendary creature, Dwarf Berserker. She's a 2/1, so she gets hurt by Orcish Bowmasters. That is the bane of her existence, which sucks. But other dwarves you control get +1/+0. Whenever a dwarf you control becomes tapped, create a treasure token. So that's obviously when you're swinging and attacking, but it also counts when you're doing things like crewing vehicles. Or tapping it via any other method. So it doesn't have to be attacking. It is really nice to be able to do that with other things. And then her main ability that's really useful, this is how you're winning the game, is you sacrifice 5 treasures, search your library for an artifact or a dragon card, put that card onto the battlefield, then shuffle your library. What's nice about this is the treasures do not have to be untapped. Her ability is separate from that. You're not tapping and sacrificing the treasures for mana. You're just sacrificing them. And then the dragon ability has become less useful as the amount of artifacts that are relevant have grown. And then the other big thing is you can do a lot of her stuff at instant speed. So someone else is going in for a win, or they're going to play a stacks piece that could shut you down. You can do things in response. It's really nice in that regard. And she's cheap. I love the get her out for 2 mana. You can get your game plan going right away. So basically,
what were they thinking, making her 2-drop?
I would rather her be like a 3-drop and be like a 1/3, because the amount of time she gets killed is really frustrating. Once people lose to her or know her, they will just target you. So I feel like she almost has to be 2 mana. If there's a commander that if you want to complain about being a 2-drop, what about Kinnan? And Kinnan's my boy. That's my main commander, and that's bullshit that he's only 2 mana. That is insane to me. But okay. The stuff that you want to play, obviously, any dwarf that's 1 mana, you're playing it. These are automatically like mana dorks in your deck. Yes, playing this by itself doesn't do anything, but one of the best things is the fact that there's 9 of these, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Plus your changelings.
8. And then there's 9 with Universal Automaton. But then there's changelings. There's 2 mana ones. But on one of the best things is turn 1 Dwarf, turn 2 Magda, and swing into the player that doesn't have creatures yet. Already you get your treasure token. Yep. You're getting your game plan online. So obviously you're playing all those. And then you don't just want to shove as many dwarves in. You want to do things, obviously the changelings, because they're easier to cast, but one of the other big things is an artifact dwarf specifically is super important. So the artifact based changelings. So something like, this isn't a changeling, but when it enters, you choose a creature type. Adaptive Automaton is the chosen type in addition to its other types. Now that's a dwarf. Bark Form Harvester. This is one of the most important pieces in the entire deck. Artifact Changeling. Same with Metallic Mimic, Universal Automaton, 3-tree Mascot. All same thing. And you'll see why in a second. Before we go into too much of the actual stuff, I mean, the rest of this really is just kind of the basic mono red shell. there's a high concentration of spells like a Braid where they either deal damage to a creature or destroy a target artifact, specifically because the only things that really shut you down are stacks pieces that are usually artifacts like Grafdigger's Cage or a Curse Totem, and then something like a Draneth Magistrate or a Opposition Agent or an Orcish Bowmasters. You really just need to deal a couple damage to get rid of something or destroy a target artifact. So spells like that are super useful. What's the other one?
All cards that
Siege Smash
Tivit runs. So
yeah,
there you go.
Exactly. So it's actually a decent matchup against Tivit because you're like, all right, I can try and go faster than you, and you're playing artifacts too, so you're not shutting out artifacts. But yeah, you really just want to, and then there's obviously a ton of artifacts, but mainly vehicles, and then a couple key combo pieces. But let's go through the main
any deck
lines.
Any deck that runs Portal to Phyrexia is all right in my book because that's a fucking sick card.
Yeah, oh yeah, that is the best thing. So getting Magda out and being able to at instant speed to, you get your treasures built up and then you can just pass the turn and keep going, building up your board, and then someone does something that you don't like, Portal to Phyrexia. Everyone has to sack 3 creatures. I mean, it's just awesome. I mean, you can instant speed Disruptor Flute or Disruptor Flute.
Disruptor Flute.
All of a sudden, Kinnan can't activate his abilities. Thrasios can't activate his ability. Just stuff like that. There's so many, I love the toolbox aspect of Magda as well. But
you love your toolbox.
Let me just go through. Yeah, I do. I really like stuff that, I built Kinnan kind of in a toolboxy way. I build basically all my stuff. I like Magda. I started messing around with Solvala too.
On a side note, when we started getting into the GOAT format in Yu-Gi-Oh, your first deck, you were like, I'm going to build a warrior toolbox deck because that sounds fun. Yeah. I'm like, all right, cool. And then I just built pretty much like the meta deck with a little flair.
Oh, the GOAT control. But yeah, you did a weird thing with it. You didn't just
I didn't do
typical
GOAT control.
thing.
I did chaos control, I think it was called. Whatever. I did this isn't a Yu-Gi-Oh podcast. No one knows what we're talking about. So it doesn't matter.
Will eventually. We'll fill in. If you compile every Yu-Gi-Oh moment by the end of our podcast reign, decades from now, however long we're alive, you'll be able to understand the GOAT format. So that'll be for the true enthusiasts. So basically, so this is one of the best. There's other ones that I was pointing out, but Universal Automaton, it's a 1 mana artifact creature, shapeshifter with changeling. So it's every creature type. So it's also a dwarf. Then you get, let's just say, through swinging with your dwarves, using something like a vehicle to crew, which is nice. Let's say a vehicle has crew 3. You can actually, there's no rule about over crewing or crewing above the limit. So you can tap all of your dwarves. Because the main shitty thing is Magda's a 2/1. A lot of the dwarves are 1/1s. You can't really swing into many boards with creatures like that because, well, you're going to get blocked and killed. But if you have other ways of tapping them, especially after the first couple turns, you can just create your treasures and at instant speed with other things that tap them. So it's really nice to be able to all of a sudden tap your dwarves at instant speed, create some treasures, tutor something out, and people aren't expecting it. But okay, so once you get 5 treasures and Universal Automaton on the field, this is the first line that I like going for. And where's the treasures? What do you do as actions? There we go. Treasure. Oh. And give me a treasure. Okay, there we go. So you got your 5 treasures. You sack them all, and you tutor for Clock of Omens. That is probably this is the most common way of getting your game plan going. So
Clown car.
I like breaking it down of, clown cars in there.
That's actually my favorite card in Magda because it's just so ridiculous. But
it's so goofy.
I understand why it's in there.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's a 0 drop vehicle. So it's basically just 0 drop. You get a tapper out there. So I like breaking it down by there's combo starters, which is basically getting the loop going for treasures. Combo continuers, where there's usually a next step. Basically all you need to do is start the combo and you're good, but it's kind of where you go from there, and you continue it with some sort of other piece that, enables the actual finishing loop. So, and then there's the combo ender. So I'll go over the most simple ones, but basically if you ever see Magda out there with 5 treasures, you should start to worry. Whenever she has her 5 treasures, I keep saying tweasures. I don't know why. Tweasure.
Whenever Magda has her 5 tweasures.
Whenever she has 5 tweasures. I don't know why I'm speaking like that today. I never say treasure like that, but apparently I do today. Of course, the one day when we're recording. So that's when you should start worrying, especially if she already has an artifact dwarf out. So, okay. So first, most common, you get your Clock of Omens, which is the main thing is you tap 2 untapped artifacts you control to untap target artifact. So you tap the artifact dwarf and Clock of Omens. So because of Magda's ability, you create a treasure and you target the artifact dwarf with the untap. Okay. So now you have an untapped treasure and the artifact dwarf, you tap both of those. And you keep repeating those. So you create an untapped treasure and you target the untap ability to the artifact dwarf again. So you'll essentially wind up with unlimited tap treasures and 1 untapped. But it doesn't matter that they're all tapped because Magda doesn't need them to be untapped. You just need to sacrifice them. So once you have unlimited treasures, now you can get whatever you want. The best piece to get, honestly, if I had to pick, the first thing that you're going to get is Maskwood Nexus, because this is the keys to the city. Creatures you control are every type, in addition to their other types, and the same is for creature cards that are not on the battlefield. So that means you can tutor out any creature. It doesn't have to be a dragon now, and obviously any artifact. So what you can do next is, So one of the easiest ways, if it's your turn and you're not trying to win at instant speed, there's actually another Magda, which is Magda the Hordemaster. And she has, whenever you commit a crime, create a tapped treasure token. This ability only triggers once a turn. She's still only 2 mana for another dwarf, so she's just good in the deck anyways as a cheap dwarf to, get your treasure tokens. Committing a crime, I believe it is whenever you target an opponent's permanent or an opponent. So, if you cast a spell at instant speed, a lightning bolt or something, it's
targeting
actually
opponents,
targeting
anything
opponents.
they control and or cards in their graveyard is a crime.
Yeah, perfect. Which is really nice because you can just get at instant speed, lightning bolt their opposition agent, but that's another treasure. So you just keep getting that value slowly throughout the game with her. But then she's great as a finishing piece because she also has sacrifice 3 treasures, create a 4/4 red scorpion dragon creature token with flying and haste. So then you get your infinite 4/4 dragons and you swing out. On your turn, that is probably the easiest, cleanest if you're okay with doing combat damage, and it's the most simple to understand. Now, let's just say we never got her. And actually, let's put this back in there. So at this point, let's go back a couple steps and say you're at the Maskwood Nexus. You can get whatever you want, any artifact, any creature. Another way to do it is get Roaming Throne.
Yes. Everyone's favorite.
It is actually a lot of people really like this. It's got ward. When it enters the battlefield, you choose a creature type. Yeah, it's really good. It was way more expensive than I thought, and then I realized, you can play this in anything.
Oh, my buddy plays this in his.
Go ahead.
My buddy plays this in his Italian deck, just to duplicate his Italian triggers, because his whole game plan is I'm just gonna ping you. I'm just going to stacks you out of the game and ping you to death. So if Italian triggers, it triggers twice now.
Oh yeah, he does. Yeah, and he like Sakashima copies it. Oh yeah, he's annoying with the Italian triggers, and you're like, I'm getting 8 damage dealt every time. What?
Every time I play 2 or 3
it's
drop?
Actually, yeah, and then if it's a creature that's also a 2/2 and 2 mana, you get domed. But it basically, it's also the chosen creature type as well. And then if a triggered ability of another creature you control of the chosen type triggers, it triggers an additional time. So now when you do the Clock of Omens loop, you're getting an extra treasure. So now you don't have to you don't have to tap both treasures every time. So now you have unlimited tapped and untapped treasures. Which is really nice because my cleanest way, I don't see this card played in a lot of the more recent lists because there's more efficient ways, but I still really like this card. It's a good newbie card. I don't think playing one slightly less bad card is the end of the world. It's still awesome. It's Realm Scorcher Hellkite. It's a 4/6 with flying and haste. It has bargain, and if you bargain it, you get 4 mana of a chosen color. But the main thing is you've got 1 in a red, and it deals damage to any target. So you can just infinitely pay your treasures into this and ping everyone to death. This can be done at instant speed on someone else's turn. So imagine someone else is like, okay, Thassa's Oracle. Okay, I'm going to Demonic Consultation in response to the ETB, and you're like, okay, actually, I'm going to sacrifice, get Clock of Omens, tap all this in response, create infinite treasures, tutor out Roaming Throne, infinite untapped treasures, tutor out Realm Scorcher Hellkite, and ping everyone to death. In response to that, on the stack.
Solid.
Yeah, I mean, no one can do. It's like, fuck, man, and none of that is. I didn't have to cast a single spell either. So you can win through Rule of Law. Obviously, Curse Totem, Grafdigger's Cage can be a little rough, but even Grafdigger's Cage, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it is you can't cast spells from graveyards in permanents can't enter creatures.
Hold on.
But that's not stopping you. I should know this. This is actually what's funny is a lot of lists actually run Grafdigger's Cage. And this was my swap is I swapped out Grafdigger's Cage for Realm Scorcher Hellkite because I'm a Magda noob still.
Creature cards in graveyards and libraries can't enter the battlefield. Players can't cast spells from graveyards or libraries.
Okay, so it doesn't say anything about an artifact entering from a library. So you can get your Spine of Ish-Sha, which destroys any target permanent, and it's just an artifact. So
once again,
you can blow up your...
Any deck that runs Spine of Ish-Sha, fucking wonderful, because, like...
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
That's awesome.
It feels bad cast. It's like you'd never cast it, but being able to tutor out in instant speed to the battlefield and blow up anything. Yeah. And okay, so that's I like that as an instant speed. Yes, I could play Grafdigger's Cage, and there's ways of playing around it and That's where it gets a little more complicated. I'm not there yet. Magda peeps, don't kill me, don't crucify me. Every post I ever make on Reddit that has to do with Magda, like the Magda crowd comes out, and that's what made me want to play the deck so much, is everyone's like, dude, do you miss this? Like when we did the Ether Drift set review, everyone's like, dude, you missed this Magda card. And I'm like, holy shit. You guys are hardcore, man. Also, can't recommend enough. The Magdanomicon is insane. It's essentially a primer for Magda. And this is like, I've made this joke before, but it is like getting a degree in how to play Magda. This Rust, ITG, and Shodokan 1, 2, 3. I mean, dude, they update this deck together with the Discord group and everything. Look at this fucking primer. Introduction. We got the pros and cons, combo starters. And it's like, oh yeah, this is how to generate the loop with this. Oh, you can generate it through this stacks piece or this. There's this loop. I mean, dude, it's insane. They have YouTube videos on it. There's a whole section, stopping interacting, politicking with Magda. There's this whole thing about how to do this. Stopping our opponents and understanding meta decks. It's, conveniently at the back of this, and you're like, oh, okay, what is this? Holy fuck, it's literally a guide on how to stop. This is how to stop breach combos with all of your cards in your deck. And they're like, oh yeah, this is Thassa's Oracle Consultation, all this. Displacer Kitten, Teferi. And then it starts going into like actual decks, like, oh, this is Timna and Crown. This is what you're going to want to do. And this is this deck. And this is, look at this, dude. This is fucking insane. It's so like, dude, do these guys get just paid to be Magda players? Because I hope so.
What Ian is saying is that if you want to learn how to play Magda, you should just stop listening to us right now and read the Magda.
Don't listen to me.
What is it called? The Magda...
Nomicon, yeah.
I love like the name.
What is the actual book that? Yeah, the Necronomicon. It's basically just like if you found this mysterious book in a dwarven mine.
Bound
like, wait,
in
this is
flesh
the Bible of
and written in blood.
This is the Bible of Magda. It's insane. And I will finish up before I ramble on too much. The other aspect, and I'm not going to go in crazy with all these other things, but the nice thing about this deck is everything kind of is a combo piece and also a value thing. Like Roaming Throne, you could just play it and it's an artifact dwarf. So even if you didn't have Universal Automaton, Roaming Throne is just an artifact dwarf that doubles your triggers and also starts the combo with Clock of Omens. And it's like, oh, okay, cool. It's like drawing into these pieces isn't bad either. Like the amount of value you get from it, you'd think that a dwarf-themed cEDH deck is going to play a lot of bad cards, but actually the card quality is ironically just very high for such a, focused theme. The only other thing I want to go over is this bark form Bajark. Bark form harvester. Stop smoking so many cigarettes.
Hopefully I cut that out of the audio.
Yeah. Well, obviously you're having a coughing fit in the background. We'll leave it.
I don't smoke cigarettes.
So I wanted to get some other things out there. So this is, and please forgive me if I fuck this up. Okay, so assuming you're already at the point where you have Clock of Omens or whatever, and you have your unlimited treasures, you get Bark Form Harvester, which is also just a 3-mana artifact creature changeling. But it has pay 2 mana, put target card from your graveyard on the bottom of your library. So a couple cool things that you can do with this. You can get the One Ring out and then Sculpting Steel, which would make a copy of it, so it would sacrifice the One Ring. So what you do first is you get the One Ring out, you tap it, you do the Clock of Omens thing, and you can untap the One Ring. So essentially you can draw your whole deck by tapping it, drawing, and untapping. Eventually you'll get to a point where you only have like 30 cards left and you're going to draw like 36 cards with the One Ring or something. And you're like, okay, let me pump the brakes. And if you're like, I just need to draw a little bit more, you can just reset the loop by playing Sculpting Steel. It'll die, because of the legendary rule. And then now you can tap the Sculpting Steel and kind of start the draw loop over again if you need to. Nice. But then what you do is cast something like Lightning Bolt targeting an opponent. That'll also go to your graveyard. And then since you have unlimited mana with treasures, you use it to put it on the bottom of your library. And then you can tap the Sculpting Steel to draw the Lightning Bolt. And then you cast it again. And then you move this to the bottom of your library, tutor it out. The Sculpting Steel dies because of the legendary rule. You put the Lightning Bolt back on, draw it with the One Ring. So then you can loop creating copies of the One Ring to always just, die to the legendary rule and draw the one card, which is the Lightning Bolt, to repeatedly Lightning Bolt everyone to death. So, and then that's all those awesome cards, I know, dude, it's like insane. It's like, dude, you can do all of this in response to anything. I guess I'm trying to think. No, because you can do all of these are activated abilities and it's all instant speed spells and instant speed tutoring. Even on top, let's say an Orcish Bowmasters is out. Who wants to bet that I can kill the Orcish Bowmaster and that player and everyone before all those triggers even resolve? Because you
Fair
can.
Enough.
It's awesome. Like, you can literally just do all this in response to everything, which is insane to me. Just the ability to tutor out any artifact, any dragon, which then becomes, any creature once you get Maskwood Nexus. It's insane. Don't ever trust Magda. They're lying to you. They're politicking. They're bullshitting. They just want to win.
Magda
and
is under the same boat as Kinnan, which is just kill on sight.
Kinnan isn't even kill on sight. Yeah. Kinnan isn't even lying. He's just I'm going to win.
Kinnan's all I'm doing is going to produce a shit ton of mana, and you can't do anything about it.
It's but yeah, honestly, there's a ton of other stuff I could go over. There's stuff with other kill spells and tutoring out Twin Shot Sniper. There's other stuff where you can Chaos Warp stuff back into your deck, and Pinnacle Monk, which is that MDFC that you always gave me shit about. You can actually loop that because it's also a land on the other side. So it's not even a bad card. And then you can loop that. I mean, dude, the amount of stuff in this deck, this is why I feel like a rambling, crazy scientist when I'm talking about it, because the amount of layers, everything is an artifact or a dwarf, or it copies an artifact, or it copies this, or it taps. And it's that's all you need to do. Is combine. You could probably come up with your own weird lines. It's I could just tap this and then draw with the One Ring and then repeatedly sack this. I'm yeah, I'm sure you could. So that I'll conclude my Magda shit, and so we don't ever go back into it ever again. We're deleting out of it.
All right, it's my turn.
We're going to defer to you because I am very curious about Tayam.
So, I don't know if our listeners know this about me, but I think I'm funny. So I'd name all of my decks something stupid. So this deck is called I Don't Know What I'm Doing.
Which is I mean, that is literally the best name for this because most Tayam players don't even know what they're doing.
No. Usually when I'm playing this deck, I'm kind of know what I'm doing, and then I kind of just stumble into the win. So this
What's
deck,
hilarious is every time we've played is you've literally beaten us and then you're dude, I could have won the turn before. And we're fuck you. You could have won before. Why didn't you just kill us earlier?
Because
I don't know what I am doing.
Because I don't know what I'm doing. Okay, let's read Time, because Time's a weird card. So each other creature you... First of all, it's a Abzan, so white, black, green, and 1 for a 3/3 legendary creature Nightmare Beast. Already fucking cool.
Oh, yeah.
Each other creature you control enters the battlefield with an additional vigilance counter on it. That part, the vigilance part of it doesn't really fucking matter because you're never attacking with this deck. But the fact that you're putting a counter on it will, and that is because if you pay 3, you can remove 3 counters from among creatures you control, put the top 3 cards of your library into your graveyard, then return a permanent card with a converted mana cost 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. So, I'm actually going to start this off by just scrolling down to my mana curve. Because look at this. I've got 1 5-drop, which is Solitude, and 4 4-drops, which is Time itself, Blight Glass Gearhulk, Birthing Pod, and Leyline of Abundance. And then everything else is a 3 or less. Like, you're going really
and what's
low.
The 5?
The 5-drop is Solitude.
Ah, gotcha. But yeah, that means like, what, only Solitude and 3 other cards, was it?
Yeah, so only
Can't be
4
brought back?
Only 4 of the cards that you're playing with can't be brought back with Time. And it's any permanent. Also, Anti-Deck is playing Command and Conquer 3, Kane's Wrath. Shout out to Anti-Deck.
Oh. Command and Conquer 3?
Kane's Wrath. Okay. So importantly, God damn it, Andrew. Importantly, Time says any permanent that is mana 3 or less, so you can return lands, which is very useful when you're kind of short on mana. And you're like, what I really need is just to fetch land so I can fetch up a fucking plateau or something. And then I can actually get my shit going. But let's actually go into what you're trying to do. So you're trying to do 2 things in Time. You're trying to create infinite mana, and you're trying to create a scenario where you have 3 counters on creatures you control at every time you want to cast or activate Time. So one way you can do this, Hex Drinker. If you have infinite mana, you can just start pumping Hex Drinker, and then you have infinite counters. I love this card.
And what's the best way to do infinite mana? Is it do you play Devoted Druid?
We'll get into... We do play Devoted Druid. We play very obscure Devoted Druid lines because Time actually has its own Devoted Druid lines. So we don't play like the squirrel that I can't remember, Brewmaster, Hazel's Brewmaster. We don't play the other ones. The other 2 that I can't remember. We don't play any of the traditional ones. Because Devoted Druid puts a -1/-1 counter on it to untap it. Essentially, you just need to give it +3 toughness, and then you can get infinite mana as long as Time is out. And infinite activations, actually, because you also have the counters. So, Allosaurus Shepherd seems like just a sax piece, right? It's not. It's a fucking combo piece. Because if you can get to that 6 activation cost, you can turn Devoted Druid into a 5/5 dinosaur. It still has its activated abilities. So you can then start giving it -1 counters and untapping it, producing infinite mana and infinite counters, and activate Time a whole bunch. The other thing you can do in this deck... Centaur's Garden. You can sacrifice Centaur's Garden and give Devoted Druid +3/+3, and then you have the infinite mana and infinite counters. So that is one way. That's actually one of my favorite ways because Devoted Druid is just like, it's one of my favorite cards, but you're also not running any of the traditional combo pieces in it, and it has its own special ones because of time. So that's one of the ways. The rest of them, hold up. Let's go into like, because I want to talk about all these pieces. Because like it's easier to talk about what's not in Tayam than to talk about what is in Tayam. Like you're not.
Ooh, go down. Is Yisan in there?
Oh yeah, Yisan.
I like
Wandering
that.
Bard.
Because he gets a counter.
He gets a counter,
Dude, I like Yisan so much.
He'll enter with a vigilance counter, and then you can tap him and put a verse counter on him. And if you have Tyvar or where is it? 1,000-Year Elixir. I think I have one more. They essentially give your creatures haste if they have activated abilities. Oh, Marvin Murderous Mimic is another one. I think that's it. Yeah. So, okay. Also, the amount of instants and sorceries you have is ridiculous because I'm running Crop Rotation, Worldly Tutor, Court of Calling, Finale Devastation, and Green Sun Zenith. That's it.
Like, now, here's my... And I know I've said this before, but I think if you were going to make one swap here, I'd swap the Worldly Tutor out for Vampiric Tutor because even though 9 times out of 10 you're just going to be tutoring for a creature, at the off chance that you need something else, if you're only going to run one of them.
I guess. Oh.
But I think I've said that and you're like, well, it's easier to get turn 1 green as opposed to black, and you're like, I'll almost never tutor for anything else. So I'm like, yeah, I guess you're right.
Yeah, because like you're not going to tutor for Chromox. Well, your enchantments you might want to get a Deafening Silence or a Cryptolith, right? You can also see a lot of, because I got Cryptolith, right? I've got Rishkar, and I've got, where is it? Enduring Vitality. So I've got 3 things that give my creatures the ability to tap and add mana. Now that's important because I'm running 45 creatures and I'm going to have a lot of creatures on the field, and if I don't have that infinite mana, I just want a bunch of mana so I can start activating Tayam. So
Gotcha.
Tayam is pretty similar to Magda in the sense that you are doing things at instant speed. Like most of your interaction is just activating Tayam and just seeing what you can do.
Which is like super relevant now. It's all about winning on top of other players. Now, I see that mentioned way too much where people are like, dude, the whole meta is winning on top of each other. And it's like, yeah, that happens once in a while, but it still should be mentioned that is one of the best things you can do. So if you can do it, you should. And yeah, being able to just, I've noticed that whenever we've played games, whenever anyone does anything that you don't agree with, you're like, I'll activate Tayam like multiple times. And you can usually like loop some sort of thing. Even if it's not infinite, it's like you can get it, you can do it through multiple times in order to stop. Like you could loop Orcish Bowmasters multiple times to deal enough damage to something to kill it. Just as or Ranger Captain, you can loop it and sacrifice it enough times where no one can cast any spells the rest of the turn.
That was the one reason why I wanted to play Tayam, because you were talking about this in the previous episode where you can do Ranger Captain locks on the game. And that sounded fun to me. The ability to...
Yeah, that sounds fun for you.
the ability to sacrifice Ranger Captain. So what you do is you activate Tayam. Like, whatever the fucking opponent's doing, or you want to do it on their upkeep, you activate Tayam, and in response to Tayam, you sacrifice Ranger Captain Vios. And then you just bring it back.
It's just so mean. And then you bring it back. It's so mean.
Okay, let's talk about the Recruiter of Guard pile, because this one is important for the deck. So we will play test, and we'll get a few cards out. So let's say you have timeout. Now this pile requires a tremendous amount of mana. So just know that.
Tremendous.
It's like 11, I think. You need 11 mana to do it.
It was quite a bit.
So...
But, dude, every game we've played, like, you've gotten Gaia's Cradle out so early. Is there like you have Expedition Map?
No, okay.
Like, you've gotten Gaia's Cradle out so early.
Expedition Map. There's... What is it?
Crop Rotation you can get.
Knight of Reliquary, which is sacrifice a forest or plains, search your library for a land card. There is...
And that's nice because you can tutor for... It's easier to tutor for a creature. So you can get Knight of the Reliquary, get your Gaia's Cradle. Because once you get that, I'm guessing, are there specific Gaia's Cradle loops in Tayam?
Yes. I can get into that
love
later.
Story. Bloody Hell Pod.
I was trying to figure out
like
this
seeing
guy.
all your deck names.
Search your library. So, Weathered Wayfarer. Search your library for a land card, reveal it, and put it into your hand. Then shuffle your library. Play this ability only if an opponent controls more lands than you. Essentially, if you're not going first, you can easily play this card and get Gaia's Cradle out of your library.
Look at that foil price on that.
$75. I'm a sucker for old foils, so if I had the money,
Me too,
I would
dude.
totally buy it. That.
Yeah. I'd buy all that. I'd be like old border foil. I'd buy the original print of every card, ever. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm with you, man.
Okay, so you get Recruiter of the Guard, and then with Recruiter of the Guard, you get Carrion Feeder. With Carrion Feeder, so these will both have counters on them. Add a counter, and obviously the cards go into your hand and you have to cast them. That's why this is so mana intensive.
Gotcha.
So Carrion Feeder will gain a counter. You will then, let's say you have another creature out. I don't have a creature in hand. That's weird. But let's say you have another creature out. It will more than likely have a counter.
Just draw a
on
couple
it.
cards.
Oh, there we go. Avacyn's Pilgrim.
There you go.
Oh, actually, Dosen of the Fawn Leaf.
No one can do shit.
So Dosen will have a counter on it for no reason.
Because it entered with time.
Because it entered with time. There's a counter. So then you activate Tayam and remove these counters, and in response... Hold up. In response, you sacrifice Recruiter of the Guard to Carrion Feeder. You then return Recruiter of the Guard. And you fetch up... Rishkar. You play Rishkar. You can probably tap your Tayam because it's been on the field for a while. Maybe you have something else you can tap. But essentially Rishkar gives your creatures the ability to tap for mana. Green mana in particular.
Yeah.
You use Rishkar.
That's a crucial piece. That's why this deck can get to something like 11 mana. Because if you tell someone like, yeah, you just need 11 mana, they'll be like,
Oh,
go
it's
fuck yourself.
super easy.
It's not hard. From what I've seen, it is not.
You're going to have roughly about 6 creatures on the field at any given point, and more than likely you're going to have Gaia's Cradle out. So it's really easy to get fucking 5 mana or 11 mana. But Rishgar enters. You will then activate Time again, sacrificing Recruit of the Guard in response, and then returning Recruit of the Guard, and then you get one of 2 cards. If your creatures have haste, you get Young Wolf. If your creatures don't have haste, you get Strangleroot Geist, which does have haste. So now this is the confusing line, and I might fuck up here. Essentially, you need 1 mana floating. You have 1 mana floating. You tap the Strangleroot Geist to produce another mana, so you have 2 now. You sacrifice it to Carrion Feeder, so Carrion Feeder will get a counter. It will enter again with 2 counters on it, 1 Vigilance counter and a +1/+1 counter because of its Undying. And then you can tap it again because of Rishgar, producing your 3rd mana to activate Tayam, and in response to that, you're going to sacrifice... So, hold up. You activate Tayam, remove the 3 counters. In response to that, you sacrifice Strangleroot Geist to Carrion Feeder. It enters with the 2 counters on it, but then you sacrifice it again. Well, you tap it first, then you sacrifice it again. And you return it with the Time activation. Now, if you've noticed, I tapped it 1 more time. So I am floating 1 mana. And you can repeat this process.
Oh, okay. So, like, you alternate between it coming back because of Undying and coming back because of... Tayam?
Yeah. And each time you're just tapping it for mana. And you'll
So now you have unlimited mana.
Now you have... This is unlimited mana and unlimited counters. So you do this until you get your Lion's Eye Diamond.
This would all be going into your graveyard. Okay, then you have... now you can...
Now you...
Any color.
Any color. Well, this doesn't give you unlimited mana. This just gives you enough time... This is like unlimited time activations, essentially.
Oh, okay. It's enough to activate time. Okay, gotcha.
It's exactly enough to activate time each time. And that works.
It's crazy when people figured this shit out. It's like,
yeah.
Dude, how did you figure this out?
So you can either have Young Wolf and Strangleroot Geist, and Young Wolf needs to have haste, and that's why you're running like...
How would you give...
Tyra.
Oh, okay. I was gonna ask, do you have Concordant Crossroads at all?
And then the other card you can use... Yeah, or 1,000 Years Elixir. Gives your creatures haste.
Nice.
Let's see. I'm just gonna draw through my deck instead of... Oh, I'll pull this one out. Because then you can you can then loop like Orcish Bowmaster over and over and over again. And then kill the table. Or... Bartolome de Presidio. That's who I was trying to find.
Now,
so you can
is there any way of stopping? Because similar with Magda, it's very hard to stop it once it gets going. Because once that loop gets going, anything that you can do, well, like, okay, I'll just destroy the Magda. Like, okay, well, I'll just repeat the loop in response to that. Is there anything...
Unless you
isn't
can
killing
exile...
Tayam like the best thing?
Actually, in this scenario, I believe killing Carrion Feeder is your best option, but then you can still activate Tayam if you have enough mana. But if you get rid of
So
Carrion
would killing
Feeder,
Tayam be better?
Yeah, I guess.
Or
Yeah,
is it all at instant speed?
well, everything you do is at instant speed because you're just activating Tayam and then sacrificing.
You're not
things.
casting. Yeah, you're not casting. So that's what's. And let's pretend the Dosen isn't already out there. I mean, that is brutal, dude. I mean, like, it's same with Magda, where it's like,
Let's just pretend
once
it's a
you
Carrion
get your
Ranger.
things going,
Also,
what can you do?
Exactly. Also, card. I'm just gonna pull out some cards that we should talk about. So, Orcish Bowmaster is one of the win conditions. I'm gonna back it up a bit. So you've got Carrion Feeder as your sack outlet that also produces a counter.
Yeah.
You can also use Bartolome de Presidio, which does the exact same thing and is just 2 mana. And that's the same
and it
thing with
puts a counter on him, so it's even at. Oh no! Oh, it does. The Carrion Feeder does that too. He
yeah,
gets a counter.
they're the exact same card.
I forgot that they get counters. Yeah, that's awesome.
Oh, there it is. So the main win conditions are Orcish Bowmaster and Moon Glove Extract, which you can sacrifice and it deals 2 damage to target creature or player. And then you can return it with time. And then sacrifice it. And then return it with time. Over and over and over again. Let's move all that to the library. Let's get rid of this shit. Let's talk about Wall of Roots and time. Because this is some great fucking synergy.
If there's a card that would make me want to play him, is like, wait, you're telling me you can play Wall of Roots and cEDH and Tayam? Hell yeah! Like this is the thing that made me intrigued by Tayam.
Oh, the amount of times when I was playing this last time, our friend Frankie was just like, hold up, you're playing this in a cEDH deck? Like, you're playing Hex Drinker? What the fuck?
Oh, yeah, because it's like, there's like so many weird things. Now, Wall of Roots, I would play it in like a green, I don't know, like black deck, green, red deck, just because adding green to your mana pool, you can do that at instant speed. So you can do that on other turns. It's essentially, it's 2 mana for a mana dork that can tap on other people's turns. Yeah, I can only do it 5 times, but...
Yeah. So, what's cool about Wall of Roots is the way that time works is that you put this on the stack, and then the stack essentially wants you to pay for it. So then you pay the 3 and then remove 3 counters. So that's part of the cast right there. So you can add a counter, make it the 5th counter on Wall of Roots, but then remove 3 counters from Wall of Roots. And it all kind of happens at the same time. So you don't lose your Wall of Roots. And you produce enough mana to... Like,
because I remember you explaining it. Explain it for everyone how that works. Where, like, the... Putting the +1 or -1/-1 is a activation cost.
So I was wrong.
So that happens before...
So when I like first was trying to learn it, I was explaining the scenario wrong to you. You can't actually do that.
Oh,
I know, but you can't.
Oh, no.
Because you need to be able to perform this action for you to actually do this. And if you can only activate it once a turn, then you can activate it a second time.
Gotcha. No, that makes sense.
Yeah. So Wall Roots is nice because it's just like really good ramp in this deck, and it produces a shit ton of tokens or counters. What's the other? Oh, let me get Gaia's Cradle out. And Sylvan Safekeeper. Let's talk about Gaia Loops. So I already said you had essentially a bajillion ways of getting Gaia's Cradle out. If you get Sylvan Safekeeper, you can loop it with Tayam. Essentially, activate Tayam with Gaia's Cradle, sacrifice Gaia's Cradle to Sylvan Safekeeper to give your Tayam Shroud, and then you can return the Gaia's Cradle with the Tayam activation. And tap it again and repeat the process.
That's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, dude, Gaia's Cradle is just like making a resurgence. I feel like it was cheaper a little while ago, and it's like, damn, I should have bought it. I know we're a proxy friendly format, but I'm like, damn, dude, I should have snagged it.
Is there anything else I want to explain? I mean, I pretty much went over. There's just like Gavany Township, put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. That's pretty good. Pulsary Mage Advocate. This is an interesting card because you're playing Absent, right? You don't have any counter spells, so you kind of run this as a counter spell in the sense where like you have to politic a little bit, and you essentially tell somebody, "Hey, this person's trying to win the game. I see you have a Force of Will in your fucking graveyard. I can give you that Force of Will in 2 lands by tapping this creature. And meanwhile, I get to return a creature card from my graveyard and put it into play." So that's why I run this.
And you can't, like, I know you can't get your own, like, you can't protect your own stuff, but it's still pretty sweet that you can do that. And then worst comes to worst, you could always, I mean, do you run Veil of Summer?
No. Let's go to the deck list. So it's kind of a stacks list. Kind of. So you're running Deafening Silence. You're running Aura's Silence. I do want to talk about Nature's Claim. Let's put a pin on that. You're running Ranger Captain, and you're able to loop that. You have Phyrexian Censor. You have Eladon of Rhetoric. You have Archon of Emeria, Aven Interrupter, Dranith Magistrate, Dauntless Dismantler. Like, you have these stacks pieces, Opposition Agent. But it's not really a stacks deck. You're just trying to slow down the game enough where you can get to turn 5 or 6, and that's when you can pop off.
I was going to say, I know it's like a little slower, but you're essentially building up this, like, it's almost like Pillow Fort in cEDH, which is funny because it's like you're building up this like like uninteractable board where all of a sudden no one can interact with you.
Yeah. I think I talked about most of the... so you're running Dryad Arbor. Any deck that runs Dryad Arbor, I would totally want to be in. So Dryad Arbor, because it's a creature, you can't tap it immediately, so it kind of sucks as being a land, but it does get a vigilance counter. So Ebbs and flows. Yeah. I mean, lands are pretty, understandable. You're running in plains and a forest. Here it is. Because you're running Earthcraft. And yeah. So Nature's Claim. Let's read Nature's Claim. Where is it? A few details. So you enchant a creature. Or enchant a creature you control. For 0, you can untap enchanted creature, activate only during your turn and only once each turn. And then you can tap enchanted creature, untap target artifact creature or land, activate only if enchanted creature is white, and untap and only once each turn. So, what you can do if you have... Let's get this fucking card. Nature's Chosen. I think I called it something else. That's Nature's Chosen.
No, yeah, it's Nature's Chosen.
So you give it to Tayam. Tayam's white, and you can then tap it. So essentially, you can tap your Gaia's Cradle, produce some mana. Tap your Tayam to untap your Gaia's Cradle, and then you can tap your Gaia's Cradle again. You can untap your Tayam, and then the next turn, on somebody else's turn, you can activate this ability and tap Gaia's Cradle again. And more than likely, you're going to have a shit ton of tokens. Counters, not tokens. So you're going to be able to activate Tayam over and over and over again.
And once you get to that point of like recurring milling, like it really is like one of the best graveyard decks. Like the fact that you're turning it, like everyone always makes the comment of like, oh yeah, your graveyard's your second hand, at least in a casual environment, but you never hear that like in cEDH, and because it's like, yeah, maybe you get to do that, but Tayam is like actually doing that.
Yeah.
You really are turning your graveyard. Like you even made the comment to me that took me so long to understand this. Not really understanding. I just kept asking questions and not believing you. And then I did. But you were like, you actually just don't really care about cards in hand. You really want cards like on the battlefield or in your deck so you can loop them. And I'm like, well, no, but you still want like card advantage. Like you want to have some like interaction. And you're like, no, because you don't really run interaction in the form of instants or anything. You literally, your deck, your whole game plan is in your deck and on the battlefield. In your graveyard.
1 second. My cat is yelling into the void.
Of course they are. Of course.
Faye is currently yelling into the void because she's all alone, so I have to open my door to let her in. And she immediately comes.
You remember the Christopher Nolan Batman trilogy? Not do you remember it, but do you remember fucking Bane and how he talks like this?
Actually, I never saw The Dark Knight Returns.
So quick side tangent. I watched all 3 of them because they're on Netflix. Again,
Dark Knight Rises?
Yeah, Dark Knight Rises.
No,
yes, that's correct.
Okay. Yeah,
basically the same thing. I've always loved Batman Begins. I mean, and then obviously Dark Knight is incredible.
Dark Knight's a classic.
I almost think it's just like a separate thing, and I feel like Batman Begins just almost doesn't get the credit it deserves because Dark Knight or The Dark Knight gets talked about so much, but Batman Begins is actually really, really good. They took their time with the Batman origins. They made it dark. They made it realistic. I really liked it. And then everyone kind of shits on The Dark Knight Rises, but I actually kind of like it. It's not bad at all. Yes, if I had to rank them, I would say The Dark Knight, Batman Begins, Dark Knight Rises is the third, best. But it's like, just because it's in last place out of 3 amazing movies doesn't mean it's bad. But yes, the thing that everyone laughs about is Bane's voice. Just watch it for that. Okay. He talks like this. And Batman, and it's like he's like this giant, like jacked dude, and that's like snapping people's necks with his bare hands the whole movie. And then he talks like this. It's like, okay, why did Tom Hardy choose to, like, who told him to do that voice? Did they just say, like, okay, whatever, we'll roll with this? Because it is very noticeable and out of place, to the point where it's like, this isn't someone's accent. This isn't just how they talk. This is like someone's talking like this on purpose. So you're saying the character of Bane is purposely doing a goofy accent to everyone? It kind of is distracting. It's like one of the first scene in the movie is he like gets captured on purpose to like crash this plane or whatever. And like the CIA or FBI agent is like asking him, so like, okay, so I'm guessing that, getting captured on purpose, this was your plan? Of course. Like, that's how he responds. And it's like, what? Why are you talking like this? It's not like he's like, oh, of course. Like, oh, he's got a little weird accent. It's like, of course.
Meow.
Just...
No, I believe you.
We're not watching it right now, but... Oh, okay. So, see, look at that. Look at that. Of course. Got 10 minutes of course. 10 minutes.
Hold on.
Of course.
I can't hear it.
Of course.
Whatever.
Just look it up later. That. Well, I'll play it. I'll play it in the...
probably can't play it because I'm
Don't worry. The audio will be there. It'll be there.
Okay.
If it gets taken down, I'll mute it.
Of course.
Of course I'll mute it.
So
Batman.
Last thing
Continue.
I want to talk about. We could talk about the money changer, but I mean, if you're running time, you're going to run the money changer. I think it's a Korean money changer. It just enters with 3 counters on it, and it gets a counter every turn. A Kantian. Has
or
this
Acacian. I don't know.
It has this long line of text. Essentially, it enters with 3 counters on it, and it gets another counter each turn. You can then use that to activate time. That's a fun little card. Orcish Bowmaster is like one of the craziest goddamn cards in this deck, because it's a win condition, because you can loop it with time, but it also creates an orc army, and your orc army and your Orcish Bowmaster will enter with a vigilance counter on it, and then your orc army gets a +1/+1, because that's how a mass works. So you have your 3 counters.
Yeah, the orc army just keeps getting stuff. That's crazy.
It
just works so well.
You have your 3 counters right there. Like, all you need is Bartholomew or Carrion Feeder. And then you sacrifice both of them, return Orcish Bowmaster with the time activation, and then you get your fucking orc army again with 3 more counters. And then you have 2 extra counters off your fucking Bartholomew or Carrion Feeder. Like, it's so fucking good. I think Orcish Bowmaster is one of the best cards printed recently, and I mean recently as in like in the past few years.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Dude, past 5 years, it's in the top 5 of the past 5 years.
But like
That's how good it is.
For Tayam in particular, I think it's like its best fucking piece.
And it's crazy because it is like whenever there's a card like that it's like it excels in something, and it also happens to be that it's kind of like Dockside is to Corvald when it was still legal. Like, yeah, Dockside is played in every single deck and with red, and it's like the best card in the format. But the fact that like, oh yeah, but in Corvald, it literally becomes sacrifice draw triggers. So it's like your treasures become draws now. I mean, that is insane. So the fact that like, oh yeah, your Orcish Bowmaster triggers just add extra counters, not only killing your opponents and, you know, staxing out their board, pinging down their boards, but it feeds directly into Tayam's game plan. I mean, yeah, that's the all-star of the show.
Oh yeah.
I would say that the fact that you get to run Yi-San too. Do you have, just out of curiosity, so you run Quirion Ranger. Do you run Scribe Ranger? Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Nice.
There's it. Yeah.
Do you run... Because I was just out of curiosity if it was almost like a... Like, let's just say for some reason there's a Draneth out. Is there a line with Yi-San alone where you could kind of get going? Because it's like you can almost... Those are the first two things that are often done in like the tutor chain, or one of the two. Either you do Sylvan Safekeeper to protect yourself, and then you do Scribe Ranger, and then later on you eventually get to Ashaya, which I'm guessing you don't run it because that's not what you're trying to do in this deck. But it's still interesting that you do have Yi-San just because of its ability to get counters and tutor for things.
So I am running Yavimaya Cradle of Growth. So essentially I can make my Gaia's Cradle a forest and then return to my hand.
And play it one more and tap it one more time.
Yeah.
Which could be...
It
sounds like, well, it's only one more time, but yeah, you can turn 8 mana into 16, you know?
Well, we're already saying that I
double the
have
Gaia's
3
Cradle.
creatures out on the battlefield. So that's enough to activate Yi-San again. Because you'll have
exactly.
Quirion Ranger, Yi-San, and then whatever you just tutored out for with Yi-San. Or I guess if you're getting Quirion Ranger. But you're more than likely going to have more things. Because you're running 45 fucking creatures in this deck.
Yeah. That's your whole game plan. Is every turn you're playing one or more creatures. Yeah. And I'm guessing you run all this, obviously Draneth, but Eidolon.
Mm-hmm. Archon.
Yes, Aven Interrupter. Dude, I love that card so much.
Oh, this card's great too because you can loop it with Tayam. Like, if you don't want your opponent playing, like, you don't want the Kinnan player playing their Basalt Monolith, you could just loop Aven Interrupter with Tayam over and over again every time they're trying to cast it, and you can keep plotting it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. It's insane. Like, dude, this card is like a white counterspell / stacks piece.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Great. So we were talking about Orcish Bowmaster being like the best card in the recent years for this deck, but the newest addition to these decks is actually Bright Glass Gearhulk, which came out in Aether Drift, and we missed this for time because we didn't understand time. But like, so it searches your library for 2 1-drops, 2 creatures. Wait, what is it? 2 artifacts, creatures, and or enchantment cards with 1 or less mana value. Essentially, you get Quirion Ranger and your Young Wolf, and then you have pretty much.
That's the first combo you described.
Yeah, and pretty much you have infinite tokens, or you get Sylvan Safekeeper if you have your Gaia's Cradle out, and anything else, or you get Allosaur's Shepherd if you have Devoted Druid out, or you get you just get the Money Changer just for the fuck of it. Like, you get any of these 1-drops.
Yeah, you get 2 of them.
You get 2 of them.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Usually it'll be Carrion Feeder and then
Safekeeper,
anything
protect
else.
yourself. But yeah, oh yeah.
But this is like one of the best cards.
What's funny is I still feel like I don't understand Tayam as much. It's still like you almost just have to get your hands on it. And it's same with Magda, and like I always say this about like Adnaz or Breach decks. I think it's almost easier playing in paper. If you're doing a lot of tutoring, I guess Magda maybe not as much. It's easier to do on something like Moxfield, but something like where you're going through a complex line where it's looping stuff, I like being able to hold on to the cards and move them. And so Tayam's definitely a list that in paper, I feel like you get your hands on it. Yeah, I know you said you were going to work on building it. That would be funny later on. You have to play Magda and I have to play Tayam, and we'll play against some of our friends, our bros.
Yeah,
Just see what happens.
Tayam definitely is one of those decks that like once you get your hands on it, you understand it more. Like it's complicated trying to explain all the intricate parts and all the layers in it. Like,
I know. Same. I felt like I was rambling during Magda, but it's like, dude, if you're just playing it, it makes sense.
Yeah, like what Frankie was saying. Every time I played something, he was just like, "You're running this." Like, yeah, you're running Knight of Reliquary. You're running what is it? Pulse Mage Advocate.
Yeah.
You're running that
weird
shit.
Cards that like I've never even heard of that card.
Roots. You're running things.
Some of the other ones I've heard of, like most of the cards I've heard of, but like the Pulse Mage Advocate, like what?
Yeah. And then your instant and sorceries are mainly just tutors. That's it. Actually, they're all just tutors.
They're all tutors. That's crazy. You'd think that you'd want like a silence, but it's like, oh, well, I got Ranger Captain Eos. I'd rather tutor him out and then I have unlimited silences.
Exactly. I'm not running Esper Sentinel because I don't fucking care about cards in my hand. Like, it's that crazy of a deck. And people are like, this isn't cEDH. It is. It performs really well. Like,
it won a tournament.
Yeah.
Let's look up really quick. Go to
the new tab.
Pornhub.
Op 16. Opus 16.
What is that? What is that?
Pornhub. I love how you make that joke every time we go to
every time. Search. Every time.
It's like, yeah.
Every time. Let's see. Okay.
62 entries.
And I know that seems bad, but the only reason why is the
just click
conversion rate isn't as great just because look at all those first places though. In the past year, 2 first place, a second, a third, a fourth, and then it cuts off, 8, and it's still top 8, but like, even if we're just doing top 8, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 with 2 wins in a year. And then a lot of people probably come and just don't understand it as well, but the players that do, they are crushing it.
Oh yeah. Actually, let's look at
I was going to see pulling up another deck that has do they have what's another deck that's considered good?
What does this say? Force of Will Disactivation. Coward. Actually, let's just do a quick compare function.
Oh yeah. I don't know what I am doing. Of course.
So they are running Insidious Roots, Promise of Bunray. I've heard this card is interesting. It has its own combo. Whenever a creature you control dies, sacrifice Promise of Bunray. If you do create a 4/1/1 colorless spirit creature tokens, so those 4 creature tokens all enter with counters on them, and then you return.
Okay, so that guy does run the tutors. So like that makes sense. So it's like he's emphasizing some tutors a little bit more.
Disruptor Flute he's running.
He put the new Felithar in.
Felithar.
Interesting. In the far left column.
Oh, Felithar. Yeah. Sacrifice an all-in permanent.
Is weird. So it would have to attack
each
though.
Creature you control. I mean, that is good. You're not usually attacking, but having it enter, that's actually something to think about. I might consider throwing that into my deck.
What about Deathrite?
Deathrite Shaman?
Wouldn't that be nice to have? Or Incubation Druid, you can put counters on it.
It's true.
Right above the... I think Incubation Druid is a good...
That's what we're running Phyrexian Tower.
His list looks like he's going fast because he's got like Imperial Seal, he's got the Phyrexian Tower, Concordant Crossroads, he's trying to get everything haste. He might be going a little faster.
Probably.
It's just an interesting take on it, though.
Yeah. And, like, he's not running Aura Shards like I am, like a real fucking Chad. Or Birthing Pod.
That's a Chad card, absolutely.
He's not running Yisan. Then
I don't...
Glad I saw this. Command Beacon. I'm running Command Beacon in my fucking deck. And that's because I can get around a Dranith Magistrate with this.
Oh, you just put it into your hand. Yeah, I do. Magda runs it too.
It's fucking... And, like, it's so easy to search up for a land, so it's just like, oh, I need a land. I'll just get a Command Beacon instead of a Guy's Cradle. That way I can get around your Dranith Magistrate next time I have the opportunity to search up a land, which I'm going to, because I'm going to activate Tayam and get that fucking thing back. I'm going to go for a fucking Guy's Cradle.
I love how I can hear all the cats in the background flipping out.
I know.
It's so fun. I can hear them all.
Well, Shenny's fucking freaking out because Stella locked her out of her room, and she's the little mama's girl.
Poor Shenny.
Poor Shenny. She's our youngest cat, and she's a chubby girl.
I didn't think she was chubby. She looked pretty small.
Comparatively, she's chubby. Like...
Oh, yeah. Well, Nala is an old granny.
Nala is...
And then Faye is unusually small.
She's just a little baby. She's just a wee little baby.
She's like... Faye is like perpetually a baby. She's just never grown up.
Yeah, and then Nala's a Persian. So when she has her hair grown out, she looks really big. But then when she gets her hair cut, you realize how fucking tiny she is.
Oh, yeah. She looked crazy last time. She looked like a lion because she had like the mane around her head and then it was all shaved.
Yeah.
Like, what did you do to her?
We shaved her.
But it had to be done. It had to be done. But yeah, man, I want to play more games against Tayam.
Yeah.
To understand
I want to play more Tayam to understand it more. Because, like... Honestly, it's like I picked it up and as soon as I learned the fucking intricacies of it, I was like, oh, this deck is fucking cool. Because you can do everything I just explained, you can pretty much do at instant speed.
Yeah, exactly. Same with Magda. There's a couple sorcery speed or like on your turn combat wins, but like most of the stuff that I didn't even get into because it gets ridiculously... like just convoluted, and that's not what this episode is. It's more about like, hey, this is the general gist of the deck. These are some of the main lines, but yeah, you can do some goofy stuff.
Oh yeah,
but yeah, everyone, tell us how wrong we are, because we probably got some things wrong. We're bound to get a couple things wrong.
Probably. I definitely probably explained something wrong.
I'm not afraid of you. I'm not afraid of you.
Bring it on, cowards.
Bring it on, cowards. Like he said, force of will this, you coward.
But yeah, if you like this, check us out on Instagram. Maybe not TikTok. I'm kind of sick of TikTok, and we don't get
fuck you, TikTok.
we don't get any views on TikTok, so I'll still post there. But yeah, but we're on
TikTok
Twitter
can suck
and Blue
my
Sky
big-
as well. Join us on Twitter where you can see me call out assholes online nicely.
Oh yeah, look for the cEDH sermon. That's if he's fighting with someone online, it's probably Trevor.
All right. Is that it, Ian?
Yeah, that's it. That's perfect.
All
Hour
right.
and 30.
All right. We'll see you in hell, fuckers.
See you in hell, nerds. Peace.
Peace.